What if the end has already begun, not with earthquakes or fire, but with silence, not the silence of peace, but the silence of hearts that no longer listen? What if the greatest danger is not what is coming, but what has already changed within us? This is not a message for the curious, the entertained, or the comfortable. This is a message for those who feel something is wrong, but cannot explain it, because many will not realize this while the end quietly begins. The end begins in the heart before it appears in the world. Long before chaos is seen in the streets, it is formed silently within the soul. Before nations fall, the conscience weakens. Before society collapses, the inner altar is abandoned. People search for signs in the sky, yet ignore the decay within. They wait for visible judgment while invisible corruption spreads daily. A hardened heart does not happen overnight. It is shaped by small compromises, repeated excuses, and delayed repentance. What was once shocking becomes normal. What was once feared becomes tolerated. When the heart no longer trembles before God, the world soon follows. History proves this again and again. Collapse never starts with buildings, economies, or governments, but with the loss of reverence. When prayer becomes optional, humility becomes rare. When obedience is seen as weakness, pride becomes strength. The heart was created to be a dwelling place for truth, yet when truth is pushed out, darkness does not knock, it enters. Many believe they are alive because they breathe, but the heart can be dead while the body walks. A heart disconnected from God still functions outwardly, but inwardly it loses direction, discernment, and peace. This is how the end begins quietly, without alarm, without announcement, without fire. A generation can be spiritually dead and not realize it, because noise replaces silence and activity replaces holiness. The heart becomes busy but empty, full but hollow. When conscience is silenced, warning signs are ignored. When conviction fades, accountability disappears. A heart that no longer listens to God will eventually listen to anything else. Truth is rejected while deception is embraced. This rejection is rarely aggressive at first. It is subtle and polite. Truth is not denied loudly but questioned endlessly. People do not say, "Truth is wrong." They say, "Truth is outdated." They do not reject it completely. They reshape it, soften it, dilute it until it no longer confronts. Deception is attractive because it asks nothing and promises everything. It tells people they can be spiritual without being obedient, forgiven without repentance, blessed without sacrifice. Truth demands change, deception demands comfort. Truth exposes the heart, deception entertains it. When truth speaks, it wounds before it heals. When deception speaks, it soothes while it destroys. This is why many choose deception, not because it is convincing, but because it is convenient. A lie that comforts is preferred over a truth that corrects. Over time, deception becomes familiar and truth becomes foreign. What once felt right now feels extreme. What once was clear now feels offensive. Deception does not always look dark. Often it looks enlightened, compassionate, progressive. It speaks the language of love while removing responsibility. It claims freedom while creating bondage. When truth is rejected, discernment is lost. People no longer ask, "Is this right?" but "Does this feel good?" Feelings become the new authority, and emotion becomes the new God. Deception thrives where truth is optional. Once truth is treated as opinion, every lie gains a platform. The mind becomes confused because it is disconnected from absolute truth. Confusion then becomes identity. A deceived generation believes it is awake while it sleeps. They celebrate choice while rejecting wisdom. They claim knowledge while despising instruction. Truth stands quietly, unchanged, waiting to be received, while deception shouts, advertises, and multiplies. The more truth is ignored, the louder deception becomes. The heart that rejects truth does not become neutral, it becomes occupied by whatever speaks next. Distraction replaces repentance. Noise fills every moment, leaving no space for reflection. Silence has become uncomfortable because silence reveals what distraction hides. People stay constantly occupied to avoid facing their own hearts. Screens glow day and night, conversations are endless, entertainment never stops, yet the soul remains restless. Repentance requires stillness, honesty, and courage, but distraction offers escape without responsibility. It keeps the mind busy while the heart remains untouched. When distraction becomes a lifestyle, repentance feels unnecessary. Sin is no longer confronted, it is postponed. Conviction is quickly drowned out by amusement. Instead of asking what must change, people ask what will make them feel better. Distraction trains the soul to avoid pain rather than seek healing. It replaces prayer with scrolling, reflection with noise, and confession with justification. Over time, the ability to feel sorrow for sin weakens. The heart becomes dull, not because it is evil, but because it is constantly stimulated. When everything is urgent, nothing is important. When every voice is heard, the still small voice is ignored. Distraction does not openly oppose repentance. It simply keeps it busy. Days pass without examination, weeks without prayer, months without transformation. People assume they are fine because they are functioning. They mistake movement for progress. The soul becomes shallow, skimming the surface of life without ever going deep. Repentance is not rejected, it is delayed, and delay slowly turns into denial. A distracted heart convinces itself there will be time later. Later becomes tomorrow, tomorrow becomes someday, and someday never comes. The longer repentance is postponed, the harder it feels to return. Familiar distractions become chains, and freedom feels uncomfortable. What once felt necessary now feels extreme. The heart adjusts to distance from God and calls it normal. Mercy is still calling, but time is short. Mercy is patient, but it is not careless. It calls gently, repeatedly, faithfully, even when ignored. Mercy speaks through conscience, through warnings, through moments of clarity that interrupt routine. It whispers when the world shouts. It waits while people delay. Mercy is not weakness, it is opportunity. Each call is an invitation to return before consequences take root. Time, however, moves forward without pause. Every ignored warning shortens the space to respond. People assume mercy will always wait, but time does not negotiate. The same sun that melts wax hardens clay. Mercy softens the humble, but exposes the stubborn. Time reveals what the heart truly chooses. The call of mercy becomes clearer to some and fainter to others. Not because mercy changes, but because hearts do. A heart that continually resists mercy slowly loses sensitivity to it. What once caused concern now causes indifference. What once stirred fear now feels distant. Time does not only bring age, it brings accountability. Moments pass that cannot be recovered. Opportunities fade quietly without announcement. Mercy does not force itself, it invites. It respects choice, even when that choice leads away. The shortness of time is not meant to create panic but urgency. Urgency clarifies priorities. It strips away excuses. It exposes what truly matters. Time is short not because disaster must be dramatic, but because life is fragile. Breath is borrowed, days are numbered, whether acknowledged or not. Mercy stands at the door, knocking, not shouting. Each knock is an act of love, but each ignored knock leaves the door more familiar closed. Time keeps moving, seasons change, hearts settle into patterns. The call of mercy does not stop, but the ability to respond can weaken. The present moment becomes the most valuable moment because it is the only one guaranteed. The call is now, not later. The invitation is today, not when convenient. Time does not wait for readiness. Readiness must meet time. The end does not announce itself loudly. It unfolds gradually through unnoticed choices. It begins when the heart grows distant before the world grows dark, when truth is no longer welcomed but negotiated, and deception feels easier than obedience. It continues when distraction replaces repentance, keeping souls busy while conviction fades. Noise covers guilt, movement replaces transformation, and delay disguises disobedience. Yet even now, mercy still calls patiently and persistently, offering return instead of ruin. But time moves forward without pause, and every ignored call narrows the moment to respond. This is not a message of despair, but of awareness, not to terrify, but to awaken. The signs are not only around us, they are within us. What matters is not how much time remains, but how the heart responds while there is still time.